A lot of times, what we don't realize, what we aren't aware of, is just how malleable our brains are, how easily influenced our brains are, no matter what the environment is around us. That's because of a very powerful concept called neuroplasticity. This is the belief, the understanding, that the brain can unlearn old behaviors, thinking, thought processes, stories, beliefs, etc., and relearn new ones. So this is a powerful tool to bear in mind as we discuss what we're going to discuss. Here's the reality. Our environment that we're around every day does influence us. There's a common phrase that I heard for the first time a couple years ago. You might be familiar with it yourself, that says, you are the average of your 5 closest friends, right? In other words, the 5 people you're around the most, you're going to be the average of. So, understanding that has a powerful effect on us if we let it change our lives, if we take that in and start to pay attention to who we're around. So, knowing this, realizing just how easily we can be influenced by our environment, how do we change that? How do we take our lives back into our hands and take control of them? The very first step, and really everything else falls in behind this, is awareness. If you find yourself to be living in an environment that's difficult to live in, right? It rubs off on you. Everybody at your work, everybody in your family, everybody in your household, all your friends are all negative, or they all have certain beliefs that you don't agree with, that don't represent your values in life. Maybe all the people you hang around have bad habits that you don't like and you don't want to become a part of and engaged in. Whatever it is, right? These environments will rub off on us subtly without us realizing it until, we look at ourselves and say, wow, look at this. I'm just like that person. I don't like that at all. And the way to take our lives back in our control is through awareness. This can be tough. This can be challenging, but that's not a bad thing, right? So what often happens is, as a result of becoming aware, we end up being faced with a beautiful, in my opinion, opportunity for deeper growth, deeper learning about ourselves. But that is going to cause some discomfort, because you're going to have to get rid of old habits. That is going to cause some conflict, because it's going to mean, as you familiarize yourself with situations and with what's important to you, there's going to be conflict in areas of things that don't agree with you, that you don't want there, or that you want to challenge old beliefs, other people's beliefs and opinions, etc. But ultimately, it starts with awareness. It starts by, this is kind of how I see awareness. From my understanding of awareness, the easiest thing to do is to think about yourself stepping out of your body and going up to the corner of the room that you're in and looking down at yourself in this situation, whether it's you and someone else, or you and what's going on around you. Maybe you're in traffic, maybe you're at work and people are treating you a certain way, or things are playing out the same old. Taking yourself out of your body and looking down at yourself and seeing yourself, seeing how you're responding, noticing what they're doing, noticing what you're doing, noticing everything you're experiencing in your body, all your thoughts going through your head, what you want to say, what you think you shouldn't say, what you actually want to say, right? Because a lot of times we want to say, hey, screw you, but really we don't want to say that. Really we want to express a more loving, understanding form of ourselves, but we don't really think we have that freedom. So how do you change your mindset in the environment you're currently in, especially given the present state of the world? right? The world, rightly so, always looks and appears to be a very dangerous, scary, chaotic, uncomfortable, unfriendly place to be. Especially if you're watching this, you're probably living in a first world country that's been westernized. And most people in that scenario they find themselves in this situation a lot. They find themselves standing in a place where yeah, you see things that need to be changed. And so that's the encouraging message I have for you is you have the power to change that. You do, right? And it starts with changing your mindset. It starts with noticing your thoughts, right? It starts with that awareness, separating out from yourself and looking down at yourself and having that awareness of what are the thoughts going through your head and really starting to control those thoughts and to make sure the thoughts that are going through your head are thoughts you want to have going through your head. Appropriate thoughts, rational thoughts. The other big tip is to start to live in gratitude. This is often really tough to incorporate into your life initially, but practice makes perfect. And there's a reason they say that. And that's because as you begin to incorporate gratitude into your life and noticing the little things in your life that you do appreciate, you tend to focus more and more on those things. So, entering a frame of mind at any moment of the day, especially moments where you notice conflict or discomfort, and just saying, okay, what can I find in this moment that I am grateful for? This workplace situation is really uncomfortable and tough, but you know what? I'm really glad I have a job. Or I'm really glad I know if I got fired here or if I left here I could get another job. Or I'm really glad that they pay me as much as they do, or whatever. Finding any opportunity for gratitude in that moment. So, and the other step on top of that is super important is to have faith. To have faith that things can change for the better, right? So this is what I would say to this. How do you change your mindset in a difficult situation, in the environment you've been put in, right? Because you can't change your family, you can't change your work. Sometimes you could get a new job, but maybe the new job isn't any better. Ultimately, it starts with accepting that things are the way they are. Becoming aware of what's going on in you, what the situation is, separating yourself from that situation. Reminding yourself those things to be grateful for, right? Taking that power back in your hands. And acknowledging that you have choice. And then finally, coming to a place of faith and saying, things can get better. I can influence things for the better. I can change myself. And it starts with that awareness, because when you have that awareness, you realize the things going on deeper inside of you. You begin to pay attention to your thoughts. You begin to realize out of all the things you're aware of, there are things you're grateful for. You begin to become aware of the choices you have. You begin to become aware of the environment that you're in, and to look for ways to separate yourself from that environment or put yourself in a better environment whenever possible, or simply avoiding the bad environment as much as necessary. And realizing that through all those forms of taking back power into your own hands, your own life into your own hands, you can ultimately change the world. You begin to see that glimmer of hope that faith creates, and you ultimately come to a place of understanding that this can change. This will change, because you intend to make it change. But it really just starts with you believing that you have that power within you, that there is things in your control, that there are things going well for you, and that there are going to be thoughts that go through your head and beliefs that you have that don't serve you, that need to be changed. And that no matter how bad the world is, you could still make something great out of it. And so this is what I would say to you. I would say to anybody who finds themselves in a situation where they're uncomfortable and they're experiencing conflict, and they feel they have a mindset that is just, that they want to change into something more positive, stay grateful and become aware. Become aware, become conscious of yourself, of the situation, and acknowledge that in that situation you're probably looking for a specific need to be met. Figure out what that need is. Try to meet it for yourself. But especially stay grateful.